Today, I'm going to talk about the most underrated update in Brawl Stars history, what it was, why it was underrated, and why it was so good. Kick back, relax, ask Fawn for some popcorn, and enjoy the video. Before I start the video, I want to continue the most worrying trend in this channel, which is asking for your support. As always, liking, subscribing, and commenting really helps out the channel and algorithm and whatnot. Also, make sure to watch the full video if you're interested in the topic. With that out of the way, let's get into the real video. Before I get to my thoughts on the update, I'm going to talk about everything that was added to the update, so kick back, relax, ask, wait, I've said that before. Oops. Anyway, let's get into what update I chose. So, what was the update? The update that I chose was the Mystery at the Hub season that was released in February of 2023. Let's go over what was added in this update. First of all, let's go over the two new brawlers released in this update. The first brawler to be released was RT, who was the Brawl Pass brawler. His main attack was interesting in that if he hit a shot, the enemy got a mark similar to that of Bell's Super, making an attack on a marked brawler deal additional damage. This led to interesting team comps around RT, such as Crow, who deals with the extra damage of each poison, leading to Crow and RT synergizing very well together. RT Super is one of the most interesting in the game, with him splitting into two different parts. While the attack is similar to Jackie's, there is a lot more strategy involved, as the super can be both a blessing and a curse to RT, as it can either make him extremely vulnerable or easily eliminate a brawler. The other brawler to be released was Willow, who was a mythic brawler. Her main attack was similar to that of Barley, but instead of having lingering damage on the floor, it would deal poison damage similar to that of Byron. The main attack wasn't too special, but what made Willow truly special was her super. Her super allowed her to control another brawler, being able to attack and move as the controlled brawler, leading to unique and never-before-seen plays with Willow, as well as never-before-seen bugs. Despite her unique and seemingly powerful super, Willow wasn't nearly as popular or powerful as RT was. Now that we've gone over the brawlers released in the update, let's go over some of the other miscellaneous things added in this update. One of the first major things to be added in this update was the new battle start feature. This made it so that the battle started 5 seconds later, as there would now be a new player card feature that would be shown in the 5-second gap. This player card would be shown with your player name, your title if you had one, your fame level if you had fame, your mastery level with the brawler that you are using, your brawler and their skin, any pin of your choice, and any profile picture of your choice. Let's go over some other miscellaneous updates that were added in this update. In this update, Brawl Stars made a new permanent slot for community events. This made it so that in the new slot, the two community events would rotate with each other. The first two events to be rotated were Duels and Basket Brawl. From then on, the community would vote for the next two game modes. Another new update was the return of Unbreakable Walls, which definitely was a shakeup of the meta. They also increased the map pool and made several improvements to the Duels game mode. Some other notable changes were auto donations for pins, additional confirmation for purchases in the shop, and more equivalent trophy matchmaking improvements. Now, let's get into the balance changes introduced in this update. The first buff was Sandy, whose damage increased from 860 to 900. The second and final buff was Byron, whose reload speed went from 1600 milliseconds to 1450 milliseconds. As for nerfs, Gray no longer could teleport teammates instantly with his super. Sam's super went from dealing 1400 damage to 1200 damage. Otis's base HP went from 3400 to 3200. Grom's basic damage went from 1160 to 1060. Poco's base HP went from 4000 to 3700. Bo's gadget got a rework, in which his super totem gadget no longer passively charged supers, but now increased supercharges inside of the totem by 50% and increased the gadget area by 100%. So, what made this update special? Well, the answer to that question is what I'm going to talk about now, Masteries. Mastery points were made to replace the old experience system, which gave you basically nothing for progressing through levels. Mastery points were obtained by winning matches in trophy/rank modes and could be boosted by getting star player. Or if you lost and got star player, you would still get mastery points. The mastery points gained per match were also based on your trophy count with the brawler. So if you were at a trophy range from 0 to 49, you would get 5 mastery points. If you were at a trophy range from 50 to 99, you would get 7 mastery points. If you were at a trophy range from 100 to 149, you would get 11 mastery points, and so on and so forth. This is also applied to ranked, in which you got more mastery points the higher rank you were, as well as Power League when it existed. Now, let's go over the rewards that were given out with Masteries. The rewards were different for rare to epic brawlers and mythic and legendary brawlers. So let's go over rare to epic brawler mastery rewards first. At 300 points, you would get 750 coins and bronze 1 mastery. At 800 points, you would get 100 power points and bronze 2 mastery. At 1,500 points, you would get 75 credits and bronze 3 mastery. At 2,600 points, you would get 200 power points and silver 1 mastery. At 4,000 points, you would get 1,250 coins and silver 2 mastery. At 5,800 points, you would get 150 credits and silver 3 mastery. At 10,300 points, you would get a facepalm pin for your brawler and gold 1 mastery. At 16,800 points, you would get a unique player icon for your brawler and gold 2 mastery. At 24,800 points, you would get a title for your brawler and gold 3 mastery. Now, let's go over the rewards for legendary and mythic brawlers. At 300 points, you would get 1,000 coins and bronze 1 mastery. At 800 points, you would get 150 power points and bronze 2 mastery. At 1,500 points, you would get 100 credits and bronze 3 mastery. At 2,600 points, you would get 300 power points and silver 1 mastery. At 4,000 points, you would get 2,000 coins and silver 2 mastery. At 5,800 points, you would get 200 credits and silver 3 mastery. All the rewards after this were the same for both. And we're finally done with going over what this update added. Now I'm going to start giving my thoughts on the update, from least important to most important additions. The new permanent rotating community slot while it lasted was pretty good, because even if you disliked one of the game modes, you could just wait a day and play the other one. There was also a community poll for the new game modes, so there was at least some player input into the new game mode edition. The additional confirmation for purchases was a really W move by Supercell, as it helped to stop accidental purchases or made you think hard about your purchase. This is rare to see from a company, so good on Supercell for doing this. The more equivalent trophy matchmaking was a W, as it at least somewhat stopped extremely unbalanced matchups between people of 50k trophies and people of like 20k trophies. Let's go over the new battle start with the new battle card feature. Initially, it was disliked by the community as it caused an extra 5 seconds of time for every game, and people didn't like the extra wait. However, as we've gotten used to it, it has shown that it has been a solid addition. It is really useful for showing off some of your accomplishments in cosmetics. One of the biggest things it shows off is your title, which is a cool flex that people would otherwise likely have not seen. It also allows you to show off your fame, giving fame a little more use than it did before. If you have rare or special pins or player icons, you can show them off as well. It also gives a good idea of how good your teammates/opponents are, as it shows off their rank, their fame, and their mastery of the specific brawler. Overall, this wasn't an essential update, but was still a good update. Now, let's talk about the brawlers added in this update. As I've mentioned before, they weren't the most unique brawlers, but had somewhat unique mechanics relating to their super with the ability to control other brawlers, and having 2 forms that can be attacked. RT instantly became a very good A-tier brawler, with his ability to deal large amounts of damage and his long range, as well as his ability to make his teammates deal much more damage as well. His super dealt an absolutely ridiculous amount of damage if done right, and could one-shot many brawlers in the game. However, RT required a bit of a high skill cap, due to his difficult-to-hit shots, and how to use his super without leaving himself in a vulnerable position. Overall, RT was a great addition to the game and managed to keep the balance between being a strong brawler and being an overpowered brawler. Willow was the other brawler that was released in this update, and unlike RT, who has consistently been a good brawler, Willow has been consistently mid or even bad brawler. Her main attack had a slow reload speed, and she was basically the same as Barley when it came to her main attack. She also released at a time where the meta started to shift to an aggressive meta, and Willow had basically no tools to defend against aggro brawlers, leading to her not being played as much. Her super width was also very small, so it made it difficult to use her most powerful ability. These reasons led her to be a very mediocre brawler and forgotten by the community. Now, let's talk about the balance changes added in this update. In this update, only 7 brawlers received balance changes, which now seems like a ludicrously small amount of brawlers. But there was at least somewhat of a reason for it: the addition of unbreakable walls. The addition of unbreakable walls changed up the meta quite a bit. The addition of unbreakable walls helped throwers and tanks the most, making them more powerful as they could now hide behind walls that could not be broken. This meant that by itself, some brawlers that may have gotten a balance change before the unbreakable wall addition wouldn't need it anymore, as the unbreakable walls by themselves boosted or decreased the brawler's place in the meta. To be fair, even with the addition of unbreakable walls, 7 brawlers getting balance changes is probably still too low. It seems Brawl Stars took the theme of quality over quantity a little too seriously in this update, as they hit the head on all the changes, as few as they were. They nerfed the Jackie Bow Gray comp heavily, which was a great change. They also buffed and nerfed brawlers who needed it, like Byron's buff when he was extremely weak, or Otis and Grom's nerfs when they were extremely strong. But that's enough about the balance changes. Let's get into the main part of the update: Masteries. Before the release of Masteries, there were 2 sources of progression: the Brawl Pass and Club League. The Brawl Pass gave you a solid amount of progression, but wasn't perfect, as some people got fewer rewards than others based on gem amount, though it was still available to free-to-play players. Club League wasn't the most popular game mode, but offered chances at the absolutely ridiculous amount of rewards. If you were a dedicated Club League player, you could get an insane amount of coins or power points, and it was a great help to progression. However, it did require active play and grinding as well as being in an active club. So much of the casual player base either got limited rewards or none at all from Club League. Thus, it became clear that players needed more sources of progression. And this is where Masteries came in. Now, you could get much-needed coins, power points, and credits from just playing and winning with your brawlers. There were so many brawlers as well, so there was basically an unlimited amount of progression to be gained as long as you kept winning and playing. The coins and other resources went a long way in helping with extra progression, and especially helped when the great coin shortage began, with the Silver 2 and Bronze 1 Masteries being a great help for extra coins. Not only were Masteries good for progression, but they were also good for cosmetics and showing off your skill with brawlers. If you got a Gold 1 and 2, you could get an exclusive player icon and pin that only people with Gold 1 and Gold 2 of that brawler have, showing off your skill with said brawler, or just giving cool extra cosmetics. The idea of an exclusive title after reaching Gold 3 was also a very good one, as it shows that you have mastered that brawler to others, and can lead to some cool or weird name and title combinations. Overall, basically, all of the additions in this update were absolute WS. Even some of the slightly more controversial additions of the update, like the lack of balance changes and the new Battlestar feature, ended up working well in the long run. The addition of Mastery also helped increase our progression at a time when it was sorely needed, and even afterward as well. So why is this update rarely talked about? There are 2 main reasons for this: the time of its release and the updates before and after it. This update was released in February 2023. This was when Brawl Stars was at one of its worst moments in popularity, and relatively few people were playing compared to now, or even in the past. This led to some of the updates around this time being largely forgotten, and as a consequence, some of the better updates around this time tend to be underrated by most of the player base. The second reason is that it was sandwiched between multiple more popular/controversial updates. The update before the mystery at the hub update was the Candyland update. This update completely removed one of Brawl Stars' most recognizable features, boxes. This was bound to have a larger impact on players who played during that time, and so it was more memorable to them than the Mastery update. The update after released a whole horde of updates, like Trophy Road additions and reworks, Brawl Pass fixes, matchmaking fixes, and last but not least, the addition of Bling, which completely changed the way cosmetics were obtained. And then the update right after that completely changed the game with the re-addition of RNG, with the addition of star drops to the game. Because of these more memorable and game-changing updates before and after, The Mystery at the Hub update was sort of a middle child, and thus less remembered and rated. Overall, the Mystery at the Hub update was one of the best updates Brawl Stars has released, with the addition of many new features that improved not only the quality of life, but also progression. Despite this, the update has been of the most forgotten, and thus the most underrated update in Brawl Stars history. Thanks for watching. Watch this video, or this playlist, or join the Discord server.